So, what exactly is wisdom? We use that word all the time. We talk about people who are wise, but what does it actually mean to be wise? Now, human societies have written about wisdom for literally thousands of years. Every culture has its own practice of wisdom. Now, when you start reading the literature on wisdom, one of the things that jumps out at you very quickly is that every culture seems to have a different idea of what is wise. So, how is it that we can try to develop wisdom in this class when every culture has a different idea of what wisdom is? It means something different to everyone. This is a sticky problem. Now, one of the things we find, though, is when we look at the literature on wisdom, we find that there are themes that repeat across cultures and across time. Now, these themes are the elements that we can build a discipline of wisdom around. So, what are these themes? Well, the first theme of wisdom that we see is that values guide wise actions. Pretty much every culture, when you look at the literature on wisdom, this is a theme that repeats. Values guide wise action. Now, right here, we can see where the source for conflict is already starting to come in, because different people have different values. So my values are different than yours, and so someone who I think is really wise, you might think is a dangerous fool. But even though we might disagree on the values, at the end of the day, the people that we think of as wise are people who are pursuing values that we think are worth pursuing. And so one of the elements of wisdom is values. If we can understand what values are, how they affect human behavior, and how they operate inside of an organization, we have a powerful tool to begin to act wisely ourselves. Now, a second theme of wisdom that we see repeat again and again across cultures and across time is this idea that knowledge is required for wise action, but it's insufficient on its own. So why is that? Well, we need knowledge because we need to know how to do stuff. We need to know how to solve problems. We need to have skills and techniques, and we need to have insights into what's going on. But that alone isn't enough. Part of the reason for that is because the world is complex and messy, and so we often find ourselves operating in environments where we actually don't know everything that's going on. Our knowledge is limited. Our knowledge might be flawed. The things we know might actually be wrong. And oftentimes we work in really dynamic environments. Things change regularly. So the thing that I knew was true yesterday may no longer be true today. So we need people who can operate in these types of environments that are dynamic, really complex, and have ambiguity. The people that can navigate those environments well, we think of as wise. Now, when we're looking at knowledge, we need to pull out this concept called rationality. Rationality explores how do we make sense of the world? How do we come to know something? How do we make decisions? How do we choose which course of action is correct? And then how do we justify our decisions to other people? This is all wrapped up in the idea of rationality. So we need to understand, how does rationality work in people and in organizational settings? Now, the final theme of wisdom that we find repeating is that wisdom is action-oriented. Wisdom is not knowing the right thing. Wisdom is doing the right thing. Now, in order to act effectively in your organization, you need to understand, how does power work? How does power work in your organization? You need to exercise your power in order to act effectively. So, wise leaders have competencies in each of these areas. Now, the good news is that these are the types of things that we can teach you about. We can give you understanding of the ways values operate, forms of rationality, the way power works, and so on. So we can give you these types of insights. And this is really what this course is about. We're going to be diving deep into each of these elements as this course progresses. It's really exciting. It's really fascinating. So let's get into it. Talk to you soon.